So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Praveen Sam. On behalf of ELTAI, I welcome all the participants to this webinar titled Life Skill for Personal and Professional Harmony. So, before we move on to the program, I request the audience to watch a prom clip of ELTA. So, here it is for you. So thank you for watching the prom clip, Feltime. So before we move on to the program, I have a few announcements to the audience. The first point is regarding the certificates. People who attend the sessions from the beginning till the end will be given a certificate. And people, don't worry if you have not received one, you will definitely receive one. So if you have any queries regarding your certificates and other formalities, please write to us, write a mail to us. We have a chat facility here. Throughout the webinar, you can use the chat to express your opinions. And at the end of the session, you have a slot for question and answers. You can post your questions on the chat. I request the audience not to share your personal details like emails and phone numbers. So with this, I hand over the session to Dr. Jaba Kusum Singh, Associate Professor, Department of English, A&D NNM Mahavidyalaya Kanpur. She is the moderator of this session. Over to you, ma'am.
Sorry, sir, there's a little mistake. Naveen Mohini, ma'am, the President ELTAI Chapter, will continue. So I invite Naveen Mohini, ma'am, to please do the honor and introduce our speaker of the day. Ma'am, please, the stage is all yours. Ma'am, please put on your audio. Your audio is not working. Ma'am, your audio is not working.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, ma'am. It's okay, ma'am.
I, Dr. N.M. Nigam, on behalf of ELTAI Kanpur Chapter, welcome all dignitaries of ELTAI, resource person, and participants from different parts of the country. It is my proud privilege to introduce Dr. Ravichandran, Professor of English in the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences at IIT Kanpur. Professor Ravichandran is an acclaimed scholar of international repute. He has been invited to present papers at Bucknell University, Pennsylvania, Atlantic University, Florida, Koga-Queen University, Tokyo, Japan, Seoul National University, South Korea, Lausanne Blaga University, Romania, besides many other places. He received gold medal from Pondicherry University for his PhD work on fluidity of identity in John Barth and Thomas Pynchon. His book on postmodern identity has been acclaimed worldwide. He has introduced new courses on climate fiction, films, and perspectives of the post-human for the first time in India. His NPTEL videos and web courses on communication skills and Swayam MOOC courses on developing soft skills and personality are very popular nationally and internationally. He is a recipient of Fulbright, Nehru Academic and Professional Excellence Fellowship for his research and has taught at Duke University, North Carolina, besides having an experience of 30 years of teaching. I congratulate you for the recent Champa Devi Gangwal Award Chair of Professorship at IIT Kanpur. He receives motivation from the following lines of Jordan Peterson, and I quote, "We have to rediscover the eternal values and then live them out," unquote. Now I hand over the mic to Dr. Ravichandran, who is going to speak on life skills for personal and professional harmony. Professor Ravichandran.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the lovely introduction. So let me set my PPT and then I will start the session. So
if you wish, I can speak on your topic.
Yes. Yeah.
Hello, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yes, Nigam.
So we have with us Professor Ravichandran, who is going to speak on life skills for personal and professional harmony. We are well aware of the fact that communication and soft skills play a vital role in facilitating work-life balance. Skills like active listening without prejudice, without bias, developing active listening skills, managing one's stress are some of the skills he will be talking about. These skills have become very important due to modern, fast and competitive world. Over to Dr. Ravichandran.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Nigam ma'am, can you please close your cam and mic, ma'am? Thank you.
So just once again, let me know how should I come out and see both my picture and this one.
So you'll have to move on to the Webinar Jam browser, sir. Now you're on your PowerPoint.
I just minimize this, right?
Yeah, you can minimize this.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to come to the Webinar Jam platform.
Fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm able to see both. I'm able to see the chat also.
Yes, sir. You may continue now. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, thank you. So a very warm good evening to all of you, all the participants as well as the organizers. So let's start the session. Life skills for personal and professional harmony. The topic itself is so huge that just 1 hour is not going to do full justice. But what I'm trying to do is to highlight some very important skills, some of which are known to us, but then we've been ignoring this or taking them for very granted. I'm going to highlight with suitable illustrations so that they create an impression on you. I'm also going to ask you questions then and there so that we are in an interactive mode, and I'm just seeing your messages in the chat. The evening is already become good, and I request all the participants to stop sending good evening and other messages. Okay. So thank you, and let us focus only on the topic, and anything related to the topic. Now you can start sharing your comments, views, and especially responding to my questions. Okay. So to start with, let me again. So in this mode again, it's not letting the PPT move.
Sir, yes, you can move on to the PowerPoint and you can be on the mode. So you'll be seen. You can navigate
Okay.
the files only when you have your PowerPoint on the slide. I mean, on the monitor.
Okay.
You can maximize your PowerPoint and start presenting, sir.
Yeah, I can see the PPT if I go to the PPT, but if I come back to this, then I'm not able to see that.
Yes, sir, the navigation will be an issue. You can, so as and when you need to check the chat, you can come to the webinar jam,
Okay,
or
okay,
else you can stay back with your PowerPoint, sir.
fine.
Your,
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
Thank you, sir.
thank you. Okay. So when I need to check, I'll come back. Otherwise, I'm just going with the topic. Once again, life skills for personal and professional harmony. Let's start with the topmost life skill. Okay, so there are so many skills like people think you should be having in terms of communication skills, soft skills, and life skills in general. Life skills for 21st century, life skills for the internet, life skills for the contemporary internet age, and all that. But some of the traits are going to remain the same. And for example, personality traits, people normally say that you should be cheerful, you should be enthusiastic, you should be proactive, you should be communicative, you should be confident, you should be humorous, and you should be able to respond promptly to any queries, especially if you are in an interview kind of situation. uh, my question is, let us say you are all these ones, and then do you really have that life skill? If you're having all the traits in your personality, or are they enough either to get a job, or to do well in your personal transactions, to maintain a good rapport with your colleagues? Are these traits good enough? What is that one important trait that is still missing? We'll watch a video, and as you watch, I want you to put in the chat as what is the trait that is seen to be missing and that we need to develop further. So watch this and then identify what is this candidate lacking.
Congratulations! What? This is your reception. When did you get married?
I'm not getting married. This is the front desk. What do you want?
I'm looking for a job. I read in the newspaper that there is an interview being held.
Yes. Take a right and go to the third room on the left.
Thank you. Congratulations once again, huh? Next. Please take a seat. What are you doing? Taking the seat, sir. You're sitting on a chair. Are you the chairman? Just sit on a chair. What will you have? A job? I meant tea or coffee. Forget it. What is your name? It's Supandi. Good. And Supandi, are you single? Yes, yes. But the lady outside is married. She has a reception. Okay. Do you have any hobbies? Do you play sports or games? I love playing games. One game I like is hide and seek. 1, 2, 3. Not my turn. What is wrong with you? I don't want to play the game right now. Come back here.
Sorry.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Sir, I see myself being 5 years older.
Do you think this is a joke?
No, sir. This is an interview. This is a joke.
Why did the chicken cross the road? What is wrong with you? How do you expect this interview to work out? Sir, I have to work out in an interview? I didn't know. Otherwise, I would have got my gym clothes. Out! Huh? Who got out? Is there a cricket match? Please leave. Passport just got taken. We don't have a vacancy. You gave me the last spot? So kind of you, sir. I will join from tomorrow. Everyone, go home. I got the last opening. You fool! Leave this office before I call the police. Oh, we are playing chore police. 1, 2, please stop my name.
Okay, now respond in the chat. Now respond in the chat as what is the skill that this person is lacking. He's cheerful. He is having all the qualities that I discussed before, but one important quality that he's lacking. What is that? What is the skill that is missing? Anyone? So instead of greetings and good evening, could you pay attention to the lecture and then answer the question? Mamta Mishra, Ram Prakash, Sangeeta, Kavita, Rani Kiran, Kalpana, Leena. Anyone? What is the skill that this person is missing?
So participants are responding on the chat, sir.
Yeah, but I'm only seeing the message.
You mean the chat?
I'm just seeing only good evening and other messages. I'm not seeing any response.
You have to scroll, sir. Scroll, it is there. Many of them have responded.
Okay. Scroll on the top. Asha, okay. So it's going down. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So people have generally said communication skills, interview skills, social inappropriateness. But within communication skills, can you identify one particular skill? Is over enthusiastic, fine. Common sense is lacking, okay. Soumya, I think, is touching it close. Listening, comprehending, okay. Yes, Dr. Sadhana has also mentioned it. He is not listening to others carefully. Yes, the point I am trying to make is this. This is the first point. Like whatever qualities that a person may be having might have developed, unless and until you are able to develop a very sharp ear for listening, we call that as active listening. I'm going to explain what is active listening. If you are not an active listener, although you may deny, although you may think that you are actually an active listener, most of the times what we are doing is only hearing. Okay. Now we need to understand that listening is different from hearing. Listening is not paying attention to the other person's words only, which is amounting to hearing, which the personality in the video did, but also to his tone and facial expressions as well as body language. So the basic difference between listening and hearing is actually physical. Just like the way we are listening to noise pollution on the road, we are listening to something very physical. But when we say listening to a kind of lecture, it's actually a mental activity, and the brain is involved, just like the amount of energy spent by a mild jogger. A person who is actively listening is also spending that much energy. So basically, hearing is physical, listening is mental, and it involves just hearing, whereas when it is listening, apart from hearing, it involves reception, selection, organization, assimilation, interpretation, evaluation, and response. Now, for effective listening, It is possible only when the people involved are fully present, physically, mentally, emotionally, attentive and responsive, with their preoccupations, distractions completely sorted out. Now, for effective listening, the mind should be open. Okay, so one should not be preoccupied with their own thoughts. The mind is like a parachute, it functions only when it is open, according to Robert Schuller. Now, what I'm going to do is give you a quick listening test and check whether your mind is open at the moment. Okay. And if so, listen to me carefully and then respond. So, this is the listening task, and then you have to quickly respond. This is what is asked by a teacher, and same thing I am asking you. Students at the University of California were asked by Mr. Agnew of the Department of Medical History for the reaction to the following. Okay, this is what he said about a case. Now you have to decide whether you want this person or not. Okay, the father has syphilis, the mother tuberculosis. They have had 4 children. It's a chronic case of having the first one blind, the second died, the third was deaf and dumb, the fourth had tuberculosis. The mother is pregnant with her 5th child. Now you are asked to give your informed decision on this 5th child. The parents are willing to have an abortion. You have to make the decision. So just tell me whether you would go for abortion or not. Like simply you can say yes for going for abortion and no for not going for abortion. Yeah, I'm just watching the chat. Okay, Mohan Raj, yes. Venkata Ramana, yes. Okay, there are some no's also. Divya Rai, yes. Sanchal, yes. Priyanka, yes. Mariam, no. Okay. Yes, I'm able to see more. Yes, some are saying like take the risk, implying no. So there are others saying no. Yes, again. Okay. Yeah, the decision somebody says should be taken by both of them. Actually, as per the story, both of them are willing to go for actually abortion. So again, Rashmi, many are saying yes. Okay. Yeah. Now, yes. Okay. The same situation was put to the students of University of California, and many students like you said yes, because considering this chronological history of very bad cases in their life, so they all said yes. And then the teacher responded to their answer by saying this: when most of the students voted in favor of abortion, just like many of you, Mr. Agnew's comment to them, congratulations, you have just murdered Beethoven. For the ones who do not know Beethoven, he was the deaf musical composer and a child prodigy who gave his first public performance as a pianist when he was 8 years old. Now, what is the lesson we learn from this? You try to listen without prejudice. Now, use your own intuition, your own common sense, your own knowledge. Do not let people create a prejudice in your mind. So this is something that is very important if you want to become an active listener. Now I'm going to give you another quick test and to check whether your mind is open at the moment. If so, if your mind is open, once again listen to me very carefully and then respond. Again, I want you to evaluate the message. This time I want you to identify a very famous personality and you have to tell the name of the person. Evaluate the message. Our leader had an unhappy childhood and little formal education. His father bitterly opposed his ambition to become an artist. Through self-education, he became the author of a book that became a national bestseller. Obstacles do not discourage him. When others say it is impossible, he hurdles each barrier as it comes. He has built an active youth movement of selected young people. He is known throughout the world for his dynamic speeches. His closest associates say of him, he accomplishes incredible deeds out of the passion of his will in order to create the kind of government he believes in. Tell me, who is this personality? Enough clues have been given. Yes, just give me the names. Obama, Martin Luther King, Subhash Chandra Bose. Okay. Netaji. Okay. Okay, again, there are many who say Martin Luther King. Okay. Yeah, Shivangi says APJ Abdul Kalam. There's Sandhya says Rabindranath Tagore, Gautam Washington. There's one who has referred to Modi ji also. Okay, fine. Thomas Paul says Abraham Lincoln. All are interesting because the next point you should understand about active listening is this, that one can also create a kind of positive bias in you. The famous personality, as some of you have rightly identified, is Adolf Hitler. This was written by a fan of Adolf Hitler, and he was kind of writing a promotional write-up on Hitler. Now, the way it is written in with such a positive kind of loaded information that you are able to identify this even with Lincoln or APJ Abdul Kalam and other such personalities. The second lesson that you should learn in terms of developing your active listening skills is that avoid positive bias and avoid positive influence. It's not just today in the media world, it's not just the negative influence that you should be very wary of, but it's also the positive bias that can be created to make you believe something, make you do something, make you buy something. So if you're an active listener, so you can escape all these pitfalls. So this is what I want you to keep in mind. And why active listening? Okay. Why should you have this? We all know that knowledge is power, and knowing clearly saves lots of our time and saves things from damage. How often we have come across situations where the leader, the manager, the principal, the director, the concerned CEO, if only the person has conveyed the message to the manager or the head of the department in the right manner, so much of the time could have been saved. And on the other hand, things were conveyed very clearly, but people never listened to them with active intent. So active listening is the key in successful personal and professional relationships. You might be telling me like, oh, I'm listening actively all the time. I just want to tell you, prove you through these videos and pictures that it is not. Most of the times we are on denial mode. Most of the times we only hear things. We do not pay attention. We are not actually active listeners. If you can develop this one skill, that will help you to develop both personal and professional relationships. It's the quality of your relationships that will determine the level of your success. Active listening has a great impact on your job effectiveness. It's almost all active listeners rise up to the top. It will help you to avoid miscommunication and conflicts. It increases productivity, both at a personal, at an industrial level. It improves persuasive and negotiation skills. So the best example between an American and a Japanese very big company negotiation, the American and Japanese team both meet. The Americans start, they talk a lot, and then they almost exhaust all the points. Okay, the Japanese was supposed to listen very silently, being a very active listener, just listens. And when the American had completely exhausted all the points, the Japanese starts talking. Okay, so active listening improves your persuasive and negotiation skills. That is why it is very important. And how do you develop that? What is active listening? Now, when I say active listening, it's not only your ear listening, it's your whole body listening. The person is full of eyes as well as ears, which means you are watching all the non-verbal cues which are emanating from the other person continuously. Eyes are focused on the person talking and look for body language to correlate with verbal meaning. Ears listen carefully. Brain is receptive and reflects on what is being said. Mouth is shut. The most important one, mouth is shut. No interference. Okay, unless asking appropriate questions at a time when things are becoming too incomprehensible and without intruding, asking polite permission. Otherwise, mouth is shut most of the times. The person waits for his or her turn. Hands and feet are still. Heart feels compassionate. The next few slides, I'm going to talk about why it is important that the heart should feel compassionate when you are in active listening mode. The whole body is naturally inclined toward the speaker to show interest and empathy. The speaker gets a feeling that she's given a careful, thoughtful attention and consideration. Okay. Now, look at this small cartoon. And remember this, what wives say: go to the store, lay down the mulch, wash and wax the car, get the kids at school, rent some videos and finish the rest of the dishes. What husbands hear. Now, this is for joke, but I generally want to tell what anybody hears generally is like what they want to hear. What this husband is hearing: go, lay down and get some rest. Okay. So remember, you hear always what, or people hear always what they really want to hear. Unless and until you make a conscious choice of becoming an active listener, you will keep on hearing only what you want to hear. Your mind has put enough barriers, enough filters, and you are not going to come out of that. So the reason why you are not able to come out of it is the perception and the perceptional errors that we commit. Most of the times, we think that we see what we really see, and we base our thinking that I'm always right because I always see what I really see. My perception about reality is 200% right. Okay. Are you always right? Now, very quickly look at some of these pictures. You need to challenge your perception and give contingency to others' viewpoint. Now, the next picture that I am showing, what do you see? Is it a rabbit or duck? Some of you will see rabbit at the first instance. Some of you will see duck. Some of you will see both. But there is the point here. Those who see rabbit will believe that there is only rabbit, and you will believe that I'm right. And those who see only duck will believe that I'm seeing duck and I'm right. Conflicts will come. Active listening will not find a place if there is this kind of perceptional error. Okay. And similarly, some of you will see an old woman in first glance, and some of you would see the young miss in the first glance. Okay. Psychologically, different reasons are attributed to that. But in terms of perceptional error that we commit, we always think that the one that we see is the correct one, and we become so rigid. Okay. The most difficult barrier is breaking this rigid mindset in communication. So rigid, so obstinate, so unwilling to open up our mind and unwilling to listen to the others. When I see an old woman, I refuse to say that there is young miss in the same picture, and vice versa. So this perceptional error is always possible, and we are not actually seeing reality as it is. We are only perceiving what we want to see. So always test your perception. If somebody is saying this is not there, this is the way it is seen, try to take the other's perspective. Let us see a small anecdote as why it is important to see others' perspective. Stephen Covey, in his famous book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, tells us why he wrote an introduction and why he want to write a book like that, why he wanted to conduct a lot of interviews and identify topmost qualities. And in the introduction, he starts with a kind of anecdote where he happened to travel in a very calm and quiet New York subway car. Okay. Now, normally in this subway car, people return from work, they are very calm, they are very quiet, they are absorbed in their own activities, they don't want to disturb others. At one station, a father enters with 3 children, 2 girls and a small boy. And as soon as they come and sit, the girls and the boy, they start laughing, they are jumping in joy, they are like shouting, and then the person is sat and then he is just completely lost in his own thoughts. But these children keep moving here and there, they start playing hide and seek, they pull the newspaper of someone, and then they irritate some other person by walking on their toes, hiding behind them. People are so annoyed, so irritated in that car, and then they want, like, they are generally well disciplined, so they are like fuming in anger, but keeping quiet. And Stephen Covey, who was also sitting, he was also feeling annoyed, and he thought that what's happened to the father, he's just lost in his own thoughts. He seemed to look at the children, but he's not saying anything. What happened to him? So Stephen Covey was also about to shout at him. He was also about to shout in great anger, what are you doing? Why can't you control your children? Can't you see that they are menace to other people who want to have their own silence and privacy? At that point, when he was about to yell at him, something in Stephen Covey said that, why not you just ask him why he is keeping quiet? What is making him quiet? And why he's not doing anything? Okay. And then Stephen Covey thought, let me just try to look at things from his side. Let me find out why he is behaving so. And it doesn't look like a normal kind of behavior. So he asked the father, could you see that your children are troubling, and why don't you like to stop them? So then the father said, oh, I'm sorry, if you really want, I can go and tell them to stop. But then Covey said, no, don't do that, but let me know why you are not doing it. Then he said that, oh, that's because we are just returning from the funeral grave, the cremation ground, in which just now we have buried their mother, just 35, very young, very energetic, very brilliant, very good looking, and died in a very pathetic accident, died on the spot. All the time I was busy with my business, and for the first time I realized that I have to spend some time with the children. And the children wanted to come on this car. So far I have never taken them on this one. This is the first time. So they are so excited, and they, for a while, they have forgotten that we have just buried their mother and come. So they're so excited, and they are laughing, and they are cheerful, they are enjoying this moment. But I'm thinking about the moment at home. As soon as we get down from this train and then we go to our home, the emptiness is waiting for us. All of them are going to cry out, and I don't know how to console them at that moment. I'm wondering whether this will be the only moment they'll be left with laughter, and I don't know whether to stop them. Now, when he said this, Stephen Covey just touched his hand and asked him to keep quiet. And Stephen Covey was wondering, what kind of change happened in me? Few minutes before, I was fuming in anger and I wanted to shout at this person. And now I'm feeling that he should not stop the children. He should allow them to have that laughter, that fun. Now, what changed? It was that moment he realized that he learned how to take things from others' perspective. He was developing empathy, feeling into the other person. So he makes this rule, that is the 5th habit. He says, seek first to understand and then to be understood, and don't be guided by prejudice. Prejudices come from all other circumstances, from other people, but you first try to understand the other person, and then you say that you should be understood. Normally people say that, oh, nobody understands me, but he says first you try to understand the others before you. Okay. Another interesting point before I move on to the next point, interesting point about listening. Some of you might have read the book by Viktor Frankl, the most famous one, Man's Search for Meaning, which he wrote after his experience in the Nazis concentration camps. And the book has changed the life of many people. Now, Frankel tells us the story of one incident that happened in his life. So this is about the story of a woman who called him in the middle of a night to calmly inform him that she was about to commit suicide. But she just wanted to say the last word to Frankel and then commit suicide. Now, Frankel kept her on the phone and talked her through her depression, giving her reason after reason to carry on living. Finally, she promised she would not take her life, and she kept her word. The entire night was going like that. When they later met, Frankel asked which reason had persuaded her to live, because Frankel was giving hundreds of reasons. He was just out of curiosity. He wanted to know which reason appealed to you. Okay. To which the lady said, none of them. And then he wanted to know, then what was the thing that influenced you to go on with your living? So he wanted to know the answer. And her answer was very simple. She said, it was Frankel's willingness to listen to her in the middle of the night. A world in which there was someone ready to listen to another's pain seemed to her a world in which it was worthwhile to live. Often, it is not the brilliant argument that makes a difference. Sometimes the small act of listening, active listening, empathetic listening is the greatest gift we can give. So if you can master this one skill, although I said we are going to say that I know it already. No, if you master it, so if you add empathy to that, so this one skill itself will get you many things in life and in professional front. So use empathy, be expressive. Look at the quote from Khalil Gibran, keep me away from the wisdom which does not cry. Okay, so here understand, if you cannot empathize, he's implying you are not a human being. The philosophy which does not laugh and the greatness which does not bow before children. So if you can bring your inner self childlike, likable by a child, okay, so then you are into the life skill that you have developed. Now the next point I want to make is own responsibility. Why this should be seen as a kind of skill? Most of the times, people, when something goes wrong, they will just blame the other person. Okay. They will say that, no, I didn't do this. So it was because of this. It rained heavily, so I have to reach late. The internet didn't work. Okay. Now, own responsibility. And why you should own responsibility? Only then you will stop blaming others. Okay. Look at the quote from J.K. Rowling, the author of the famous Harry Potter series. In her famous commencement address in Stanford University, she says that there is an expiry date on blaming your parents. Now read blaming your parents to any elders, any higher authorities. It could be husbands, wives. So any person, anybody other than you, steering you in the wrong direction the moment you are old enough to take the wheel. So often the first blame goes to the parents, saying that, oh, you didn't put me in the right school, you didn't pay fees, you didn't buy me this and all that. She says that stop it. And there is an expiry date. You cannot go on blaming other people throughout your life. When you have grown up and when you have become responsible, take the responsibility. It lies in you. So Eckhart Tolle also says that whenever you start owning responsibility, then you will move from any failure or frustration. And it is a process, he says. If you want to come out of any failure, frustration, first thing is that you have to stop blaming and stop that denial mode. Denial mode, I didn't do, I'm not responsible. Somebody did that to me. And once you reach that non-denial mode, you can go to introspection and acceptance. And it is at that point, slowly you will reach an awareness level. And then you will decide what kind of skills I should develop so that this failure will not occur to me again. Then it is combined with your other developments like self-actualization, you will really go for accomplishment, and then you will develop internal joy and peace. So own responsibility, stop blaming others. So that is important. And then in today's world, do not stress yourself and stress others. The effects of stress, I need not elaborate on this, but you know that it's killing almost 80% of the people, gives poor appetite, weight is increasing or decreasing, emptiness in life, sadness, cognitive changes. You are not able to read something with concentration, read something properly, do very badly in exams and all that. The worst thing is the immune system itself is weak. People living in the same house, one person who is already in stress is getting COVID-19 and other virus can affect this person so easily. The other person who is highly positive with a growth mindset, it's not able to enter the immune system. There are other diseases like heart attack. Okay, in fact, blood pressure, and then diabetes as well as thyroid. So all three are supposed to be emotional diseases. They are not physiological diseases. They are emotional diseases, and it's like buy one get two free. So you go to stress, you get one disease, and you will get all the two free. The point I'm making is it's not just stress. You need to identify when you are in stress, you are actually putting others in stress. But we need to understand stress is a normal thing. Stress is required in life for us to think out of the box, arrive at a solution, develop ourselves, gain experience, okay, handle a very tough situation, move from one level to another level. Stress is really important. So, but the way we react, so that is the one that is going to kill us. Hans Selye says that it is not stress that kills us, it is our reaction to it. At the same time, the major cause of stress is the inability of people to discover the real nature. So once you dig out and identify your real nature, so then you'll be able to discover your gifts, follow them, and you will never feel stressed. Okay. Now, I would say, particularly in testing times, you need to develop that calmness. Sundar Pichai talks about an incident in a 5-star hotel where he was sitting and a cockroach went and fell on a lady's shoulder, and the lady shouted, yelled, jumped, and then all the dishes were spoiled and everybody started jumping, shouting. The cockroach from her shoulder went and sat on the shoulder of a waiter. The waiter was just calm. And then when everybody saw the waiter and the cockroach, then they they started cooling off. And then he was very calm. And then he took a napkin and then he put his hand and then he took the cockroach, took it, and then he took it to the flush and then he put it inside and then he flushed it out. He washed his hand and then he came back. Now, Sundar Pichai said the same cockroach. It sat on two different people. Okay. And he was saying that this is what is happening to us. The same stress, the same situation. Depends on how you react. One lady, entire 5-star hotel was turned upside down because of her. Another person just found a solution very calmly without disturbing others. So do not overreact. Okay. So why? Because when you are in stress, you should remember what you choose to focus on is the one that will grow. If you focus on anxiety, you will become much more anxious. You will develop diabetes, you will develop BP, everything. If you pour guilt, guilt will come. Self-doubt, worry, whatever. But if you choose love, if you think that I will try to harmonize this situation with positivity, with friendliness, so then it will grow. Now, why you should regulate stress and why it is necessary? When stress is regulated, you will be able to complete your tasks very easier, better manner. You will also create time for other jobs and you will be able to relax and spend time with family or friends. You will also stay very calm even in testing times, and people won't even know whether you are undergoing stress or not. And you will be the person people would like to come and relate to whenever they are in stress. Very quick suggestions for trying to govern it, control it, regulating it. The most important one, all of you might have realized, it has become the topmost skill in another sense, is your health, your personal health and habits related to that. Keeping fit, okay, not letting any virus affect you. Immunity, how do you develop that? So sleeping 7 to 8 hours, giving quality time for sleeping, and same time going to bed at the same time, not later than 10:30, okay, and then waking up at the same time when the sun rises. Exercise for 45 minutes, getting the vitamin D. When I say exercise, it need not be going to gym and sweating it out, but anything that will make you sweat out. Gardening, playing with your pet, playing any game. So whatever you think, cycling, swimming, whatever you think will make you sweat out in the sunlight, that is good enough. And yoga or meditation helps you to keep your mental balance. Eating healthy food in time, okay, completely removing junk and removing all the white stuff, maida, sugar, salt, okay, and then replacing that. Mindfulness, committed fully to what you are doing at the moment and focusing on that. And even being mindful while bathing or sipping tea, although it looks like a very trivial and routine kind of work. Plan the work and work the plan, never postpone. Because once you start postponing something, this becomes a kind of Himalayan task. And occasionally also learn to break from work. So enjoy moments outside your work also. Go and spend some time in a natural setting. Use your senses to relieve stress. Sight, whatever is visually appealing to you. So watching a movie, will you feel good? It's sound with music. Smell, even smelling good food, smelling good flowers, okay, floral therapy is there. Tasting fruits and other food item that you like so much. Touching a pet, okay, touching a human being. Movement, just jogging or walking, whatever you do. So use all these senses, and then very quick stress relieving ones, even showering. Take a quick shower, hot or cold, depending on the weather and your body condition. Talking to a friend, a trusted friend. Walking in a natural setting, listening to your favorite soothing music. Deep breathing, which we forget frequently in a day. Watching your favorite movie, reading a favorite novel or pages from motivating book, watching even a favorite video from YouTube, okay, going to a temple or any serene place, shopping in a mall, eating your favorite food, laughing. So these are all things that can quickly regulate you from stress. It's very important that you manage this because it's about life management. Stress management is life management. If you take control of your stress, your life will thank you for it. So uh, otherwise it's like you're on tenterhooks. But if you are able to break the pattern, so somebody will trigger you with a lot of stress and then you also carry the trigger. But if you are very calm and then collected, and if you're able to break it, so you would have done justice not only to you but for other people also. Okay. Now, learn to manage stress by developing conflict resolution skills, because peace comes not from the absence of conflicts but from the ability to cope up with it. I'm going to show you one more video, fish in the troubled water. And after watching this, you may also tell me whether he is an active listener and what is it that he did. Okay, or you just note it and then share your quick views. Would you consider him as an active listener? Would you consider him handling stress very well? Would you consider him as a good communicator? So these are the things that you may ponder over. Okay. Okay, just put your views. Do you consider him an active listener, good communicator? And how did he handle stress? What is the important thing that he did? Okay, yeah, yes, definitely he's an active listener. Uh, yes, okay. Well, how did he handle stress? It was a very stressful situation. Yes, as Gita says, we should not panic, relax ourselves to find the solution. Patience is more important. Yes, he was, yes, as Indramani says, he was using this presence of mind also. Yes, good communicator, definitely yes. So stayed calm and thought of a solution, as Rajita says. Yes. So this is what, yeah, being calm is a very important quality. Good presence of mind. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. So this is what I wanted you to notice. Actually, there is no point at all in just jumping and shouting when there is a stressful situation, but in fact, when you do that, you are actually making it worse. You are, instead of solving it, you are actually uh, aggravating the situation. Look at this quotation: the most important spiritual growth does not happen when you are meditating or on a yoga mat. It happens in the midst of conflict. In the midst of conflict, you should be able to bring that meditative zen moment. When you are frustrated, angry, or scared, and you are doing the same old thing, and then you suddenly realize that you have a choice to do it differently. So that moment when you realize that yes, I can use my presence of mind, I'll just see. In the video, actually, I would consider him as a wonderful communicator in terms of non-verbal communication. He didn't use any word, but what communication tells us, make the communication environment friendly. Okay, what did he do? He realized that water is the medium that can make this his pet, his friend, comfortable. So he created that comfortable medium in which the person can come. And not only like the fish is trying to demonstrate its love, it's like showing utmost comfort and safety by getting into the hands of this person. It does not have any fear. That's the level of communication maturity you need to develop with your client, with your other person. That's possible if you create the right medium, like the person has done it, and by keeping calm and cool. Okay. In terms of conflict, you can resolve the conflict both in a destructive and constructive manner. But I'm trying to suggest that you try to do that in a constructive manner. When you're destructive, you have disagreement about personality, character, you assassinate the character, you shout at the person. But when you're constructive, you're focused on the ideas and approaches. It's issue based, it's not attacking individuals. There is no personal antagonism, there is no differences of opinion. But here people respect differences when it is constructive one, without hurting personal sentiments. The destructive people will not let group progress. They will say, I will not do anything. I will not let the group progress also. Constructive people will give in. They ensure that the group performance and cohesion is more important. Destructive people are characteristic of low performance performers. Here, constructive people come under high performers. Destructive people, their operative strategy is win lose. I should win, you should lose, or I will lose, you should also lose. Constructive people, all the time it is using win-win approach. So some more thoughts related to communication and general skills. Be open and direct in communication. Instead of using ambiguous language, instead of beating around the bush, because a lot of problems in the world would disappear if we talk to each other instead of about each other. Instead of saying something behind the person, if you develop courage to go and talk to the person, the problem will be solved. So final concluding thoughts: use the wisdom of Socrates. Okay, there are three things he suggested. So the first one, about appearance and reality. Once his disciples went and asked him, they said, Master, what is the remedy for love at first sight? So he said, a close second look. Okay, whatever you believe to be good in the first glance, first appearance, he said, take a close second look. So things will fall into perspective. Then the second thing he told them, always have this triple filter test. Okay, if somebody is coming and telling you, for example, a gossip, you ask the person, is it true? If the person says, I'm not sure, then you say, don't tell. If they say, oh, I want to share this, you ask whether it is good. They say, no, it's a very bad news, but I thought of sharing. You say, don't tell me. The last one, he says, ask them whether it is useful to you or anyone. If they say, no, it's a useless kind of gossip I am discussing, then you have to tell the person that don't share it at all. Okay. The other one is that Socrates tried to show that humor is very important. Okay. The incident is that his wife comes and then he actually is more interested in talking all the time, and then she's angry. He's not doing any household work and she shouts at him like anything. And he was just cool, and all the disciples were sitting, friends, and then watching him sitting coolly. Then the wife got so annoyed, and then she took a bucket of water and then poured it on his head, and then she said that you're not paying any attention, so I'll just throw this to take your attention. First time Socrates opened his mouth, and then he said that, so far it was thundering heavily, now it has started raining also. To which all his disciples, even his wife, started smiling. So the point is, never lose your sense of humor, even in trying difficult situations, and be like the Buddhist monk who never accepted the gift.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir.
Yeah.
Maybe please sum up, because there are so many questions. The talk is so interesting. People want to interact with you, sir.
But can you just extend for 5 more minutes? Like.
Yes. Okay, sir. Fine, sir.
So this lady who was abusing the monk for taking alms, and then she shouted at him for almost an hour, and then the monk went silently. So she called him and said, why you are going quietly? He said, like, lady, if somebody is giving a gift and then you say no, with whom does the gift lie? So then she said that it lies with the same person. So he said that I'm not accepting what you gave to me. So what he meant is, like, if I don't take your abuse, it is left with you. Okay. Concluding thoughts, it's all in perspective. So there's this old man who had 8 hair on his head. He went to the barber shop, and the barber in anger asked, shall I cut or count? So old man smiled and said, color it. So life is to enjoy with whatever you have with you. And then if somebody is asking what is more important, journey or destination, so this cartoon says, like, it's the company. Okay. So soft skills, when you develop some of the skills which I have discussed, they are all people skills. And if you develop good soft skills, you will have good company. Sartre says, hell is others. But at the same time, heaven is also something that is given to you by others. As a concluding thought, I would say that just be happy for no reason. People are unhappy for so many reasons. Okay, but for being happy, you don't have to look at some reason, because you glow differently when you're actually happy. So it's time for discussion now. So I'm just opening up for discussion, and thank you so much for your patient hearing, because I slightly exceeded the time by 5 minutes. So it's open to discussion. So let me also look at your questions. And ma'am, you can also, if I missed something, you can also bring it to my notice.
Thank you, sir. I will put in on the questions. Yeah. And that was a very, very useful and lucid deliverance, really, on life skills and personal and professional harmony. We have so many questions, sir. The first questions, that is by Kavita Nirumala. How do we inculcate or improve active listening skills in secondary school students?
Okay. what
May I
we
repeat?
do. Yeah, I understood. Yeah,
Okay.
not only school kids, even at an institute like IIT. So the general thinking is that you should talk all the time, you should maximize your talking. So we try to tell them by like creating role plays or recording GDs, for example. Many people do not know that in GDs, the active listener, like the person who talks is not the one who is always getting selected, but the person who listens patiently and then towards the end tries to sum up all the arguments and brings his or her views is getting more points. So we try to show them illustrations, tell them stories. So since they are children, you can tell them stories. Like I'm also trying to use illustrative method. Tell them first the importance of active listening, try to show them what is hearing and what is active listening, and make them understand that a person who is talking all the time may not be really a good listener. Okay, show right models, wrong models, make them indulge in role plays, and then try to assess. Most importantly, you can also try to bring in situations or analyze videos from movies where words say something, but actually the emotional content is often missed. So you can actually make them remove the audio part, okay, and first make them watch only the characters enacting without the audio, and ask the kids who is affected, who is trying to convey, whether it's a good news or a bad news, by looking at the facial expressions you try to tell, and then you play the video. So then they will understand that, like the video I showed clearly shows that words are not important at all. Okay, so if you're able to show them, give examples, and then give demos, and then also make them use this video mode in which you mute it and then make them listen. So that's one of the ways in which you can inculcate even at a very small stage. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. The next question is: are attitude, attention, and adjustment important for active listening?
Attitude, uh,
Attention and adjustment.
yes, yeah, all three. Yes, see, attitude actually this is a very shortened version of a very 1 week workshop. We also talk about barriers to active listening. So one of the barriers to active listening is having a very bad attitude towards the speaker, or an attitude that I know everything. Okay, rigidity of thinking. Okay, and then attention. Yes, you have to pay full attention. Stop all distractions, keep the mobile switched off. Don't let your mind think that, oh, is this is lunchtime, when will the speaker stop? So stop all the distractions. Last minute the speaker may be telling you the most important one. How many times we have realized that the teacher, before the exam, the last 5 minutes has almost even discussed the most important question, but many children missed it. Okay, so adjustment, yes, sometimes it's very uncomfortable. Sometimes you want to go out, you want to do something, but then adjust according to the speaker's comfort, and then all three are important. Yes.
Yes, thank you, sir. The next question by Sandeep Patil: how does art therapy relieve us from stress? And then he says again, ask, and which art therapy would be the best?
Okay, so art in general, like we have one department in humanities, fine arts. All the colleagues are painters. Okay, and you ask any of the people who are involved in art, whether it is painting or whether it is sculpting or clay modeling, anything to do that, they say that that is the only thing that is relieving them from any kind of stress. I used to ask them, how are you trying to find time? They say that like it's their most engaging part of their life. So art therapy, whatever you do in terms of art, I'm not specifying any particular thing, but anything that can engage you, even some kind of handwork. Okay, so there are people like not necessarily, as I said, artwork, even gardening. Okay, so you develop, for example, how to have bonsais. Okay, and then that itself is an art, that itself is a skill. Okay, develop that, and then when you feel that you are able to have a small banyan tree in your bonsai, uh, uh, one for about 10 years alive, so you feel so good every time you see that in the morning. It's actually giving a kind of therapy. No particular thing I have in mind, but anything that is related to art is going to relieve you from stress, especially when you develop interest and make it a regular one. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
The next question is by P.N. Ramani. From among the few traits you have discussed, which would you rate as the most important?
So the most important one, I started at the beginning, active listening, because in active listening, I'm including other things like empathetic listening. So, in fact, I was discussing with another person and suggesting like we can divide the entire world into two groups. One is empathetic people, and the other one non-empathetic people, non-empathetic listeners. A child that thinks that I will not eat food. Okay. So that has annoyed the grandmother. Okay. And the grandmother's annoyance was shown with the servant. And the mother of the child was thinking that grandmother has not fed properly. It affected the husband. I happened to talk to the person, and he said, I spent the entire night wondering why the child was not eating. When we asked the child, it was just for fun. She was saying that I didn't want to eat, I didn't do that. But if only the child was told that, did you know that your behavior can affect 5 6 people, and some can lose their sleep, and some will get disease, somebody's pressure is going to increase, they will stop the trigger. So active listening implies that empathetic kind of understanding and living, and adjusting according to others, and stopping triggers that will give stress to others. So I would rate that as the topmost one. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we are drawing towards the end. Thank you for
Okay.
giving us such simple solutions for the difficult yet day-to-day problem. It is day-to-day problem, common problem, but this difficult problem. And end of this eventful and happening session, let's come to and extend. The most important thing is to extend heartful gratitude. Once Gilbert K. Chesterton once said, I would maintain that thanks are the highest form of thought, and that gratitude is happiness doubled by wonder. I, on behalf of ELTAI Kanpur Chapter, and especially our President ELTAI Kanpur Chapter and today's first moderator, Dr. Naveen Mohini Nigam, express my sincere gratitude
Thanks at the highest form of thought
towards the ELTAI governing body for giving ELTAI Kanpur Chapter this golden opportunity to organize the ELTAI Webinar 69. This is a great privilege for all of us to have with us Dr. T. Ravichandran. Sir, to listen to you, an academician of your demeanor, is an honor in itself. Thank you once again, sir, for such an useful and engaging talk. Looking forward to many more addresses, sir, because I feel this was just a drop from the ocean of knowledge that you own. Dr.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all. Yeah.
Dr. Praveen Sam, sir, I extend our genuine appreciation to you for your continuous and unconditional help in making this webinar a success. And of course, how can I forget Joseph, sir, for his technical assistance and guidance. He is just brilliant. Last but not the least, warm greetings to all the members of ELTAI Kanpur Chapter, the student participants, and all other participants whose zeal and enthusiasm made this webinar a grand success. We had almost 300 participants.
Okay.
Now I hand over the mic to our host, Dr. Praveen Sam. Sam, sir, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, ma'am. So can we all switch off a cam for a minute, because I'll have to show the participants the poster for the next webinar. So dear participants, thank you so much for attending this webinar and making this possible. The next webinar, that is webinar 70, is titled Many Crusoes, Robinsonade in the 20th Century. The resource person for this webinar will be Professor Amrit Sen, Professor of English, Vishwabharati, Shantiniketan. So I request all the participants to participate in this webinar as well and get enlightened. Thank you so much. Good evening.